Welcome to the equipment entry section of the Planning for Profit software pricing tool. This is where we're going to account for all your major pieces of equipment, all of your trucks, all the backhoes, the high lifts, all those major pieces of equipment. At some point, they will fail. And the question is, when you replace them, how are you going to pay for them? This is where we're going to account for that. When you start out, that screen will be completely empty. We're going to add each of your major pieces of equipment. Now, we're typically talking about pieces of equipment that are $1,000 or more. Right, so things like trucks, job trailers, high lifts, backhoes, things like that. Now, you could include items like computer servers. Now, I'm not talking about a workstation. Those are less than $1,000 in most cases. We're talking about things like computer servers where it could be $7,000 to $10,000. If you've got major printers, if you got, whatever those big items are, we want to be able to start planning to replace those because at some point you will have to do that. So if I'm going to enter in a new piece of equipment, all I do is click on the Add Equipment icon in the upper right-hand corner, and you're going to see this window open up. As the window opens up, we can now start entering each of the bits of detail for this particular truck. So I'm going to start out here. I'm going to enter in what is the piece of equipment itself. All right, so I'm going to put in 2019 Ford F-150. Now, when you're entering these in, I've got a couple of recommendations. Number one, don't use driver names, right? And the reason for that is because drivers change vehicles, right? So don't say Joe's truck, John's truck, Ed's truck, whatever. Put in, what is it? A 2019 Ford F-150, right? That's what I want to put in there. If you use truck numbers, I highly encourage you to put in the truck numbers in there because it will sort it on your list by truck number. Again, be consistent in the way that you enter them in. So again, in this case, I might put year and then what is it right after that one. All right, so be consistent in the way that you enter your data. The next item in here is a future or existing purchase. In other words, the default will be existing. In other words, it's a truck that you already have in your fleet today, and we're just going to be replacing it when it dies. Future would mean it's not something I have in the fleet today, but I'm thinking about adding another technician in 2 years. I'm going to need to buy another truck to add to the fleet at that point in time, right? We'll start putting money aside today for that. Again, the default will be existing because that will be the most of your entries, and that's where we'll leave it. Year to start. Year to start basically says, when are we starting? That will always default to this year, whatever the current year is. Right, so our model is for 2021. It's going to automatically default to the year 2021. You really don't need to change that. The next one down, additional years of service before replacement. How many more years do you think you can get out of this piece of equipment before it's going to have to be replaced? I'm thinking on this particular truck, I can still get 4 more years out of it. So I'm going to put 4 years in there. Next item down, right? So it's telling me that again, I'm going to have to basically put money aside from now through 2024 to be able to replace that and pay cash for it. The next item in line is the net cost to replace. So this is a net cost. What is it going to cost you all in to replace this piece of equipment? In other words, what's the cost of the truck? Add to that the cost of any lettering or wrapping that you might do with it. When you replace your trucks, do you buy new ladder racks and shelving, or do you transfer it from the old vehicle? If you buy new, we've got to add that in here. All right, what are those total expenses for the vehicles? Now again, if you buy new vehicles, this needs to be a new vehicle cost here. If you buy used vehicles, this should be a used vehicle cost. It's the net price to you. What is it going to cost you to replace this piece of equipment? So in my case, I'm saying it's going to cost me $35,000 to replace that piece of equipment. Again, right above that, I can see that software is already doing work behind the scenes. I need to build in $729 a month from now through 2014 so that when this truck dies 4 years from now, I can write out a check and pay for it up front. When we go to the other side, we've got a comments box that's there. The comments box is purely for your reference, for your information, right? So here you might say, Joe is currently truck, right? So Joe's currently driving this truck. It's whatever you want to put in. It's purely for your information and your reference. The next item that we have in here is a checkbox that says include in allocation percentage. That will be defaulted. It will be checked by default. And what this is if this vehicle if it's a gas burning car or truck, then I want to leave it checked. Right? And this will be used a little bit later on when we start entering in overhead expenses. Some of your expenses, for example, fuel, maintenance on the trucks, things like that, can be spread based on where the trucks are spending their time. And so if you enter in that expense and say, I want to allocate it based on where my trucks are spending their time, it will go back and look at any of those pieces of equipment that have this box checked, come up with a percentage, what percentage of your overall vehicles spend their time in which department, and we'll spread the cost accordingly. If it's a non-gas burning vehicle, right? So in other words, high lifts, right? Job trailers, computers, things like that. Those are not vehicles, right? So in those cases, I'm going to take this check mark out of this box so it doesn't affect those calculations later on. And then the last section is the equipment cost allocation. Where is this piece of equipment spending its time? Now you notice that the accept button down here is not available. It's kind of a light blue shade. You can't click on it. You can't accept it. The software is going to make sure that you enter in all of the required data before it lets you accept this piece of equipment. So in this case, this truck might not spend all of its time in one given department. It might spend, let's say 75% of its time in the service department, 25% it's helping in the install department. We can split it in that way. If it's 100% in the department, then we list it as 100%. In my case, I'm going to say it is indeed 75% in the service department and 25% in the install department. Once we do that, again, you have to allocate 100%. It won't let you allocate 99% or 101%. It has to be 100%. Once we do that, the accept button is now available to you. We can click on accept. It tells us that piece of equipment was created successfully. We can acknowledge that, and now that piece of equipment shows up on our list. So as it shows up, I can see what it is here. It's going to cost me $35,000 to replace it. It's going to be spread over 4 years. I need to build in $8,750 per year into my pricing to make sure that when it comes time to replace this truck, I've got the money to do so. Now, you notice this last item column here is selected. That means that this piece of equipment is being factored into your pricing. Sometimes we'll have companies that get out here and they'll enter in all of their equipment and then they go, oh, wait a minute, I can't possibly charge that much money. I'm going to pull out. They make that tough decision. I'm going to pull out and not factor in the replacement costs for some pieces of equipment. To do that, all you have to do is simply click on the selected icon here. And as I do that, it's going to say, wait a minute, are you sure about this? Because this means that we're no longer putting money in. So when this thing dies, you don't have any money to replace it. Right, so it's going to make sure that you know what you're doing here. So I'm going to say yes. You'll notice that as it's deselected, it doesn't pull it off the list. It leaves it on your list because, hey, the truck is still there. But if you notice under the annual amount column, it's zero. In other words, we're not factoring in any dollars. We're not building the cost of this replacement into our pricing for our company. If at some point down the road you want to add it back in, I'll simply come back in here, click on the selected icon. It's going to ask me, okay, then again, where is this vehicle spending its time? You'll verify. In my case, it was 75% service, 25% install. I click on accept. It's going to tell me, yep, we've just added that piece of equipment into the software tool. And again, you notice that it is now selected. You will always notice as you start building this list, right down here in the bottom center, you've got a grand total. What are your total equipment replacement costs for all of your vehicles? Right? How much are we building into your pricing each and every year so that when your trucks start to come due, you've got the money to replace them? Now, there's one other area in the software tool itself that you will notice is these three dots again. Anytime you see those three dots, it means that there's more that you can do. There's actions that we have there. And so when I click on that icon, those three dots, I can edit a particular piece of equipment, which just simply opens this window back up, and I can make any changes that I want to. I can also remove the piece of equipment by clicking on delete. But this last item here is particularly helpful if you have a lot of pieces of equipment. And if you've got several trucks that are very similar, maybe you replace 5 or 6 trucks every single year, right? And so pretty much the parameters are about the same. All I need to do at that point is I can say, okay, this truck that I just entered, I've got 5 more just like it, right? So I'm going to take and copy this one. And what's going to happen is it's going to pop up and show you, okay, this was the 2019 Ford F-150, right? I can simply come in here. What is my new truck? All right, and that's going to be a, maybe it's another 2019 Ford F-150, all right? And again, we'll say that we are using truck numbers, all right? So 102, whatever it is, right? I'll put that in. I say accept. And what you'll notice is it will exactly duplicate that one piece of equipment on my list. I now have 2 trucks that are there. And you might say, okay, well, on this particular piece of equipment, yes, it's pretty much all the same, but there's just one item that's different, right? I'm thinking because of some parameters, this particular truck is going to be used just 100% in service. All right, I can make that one change here, accept it. The entry is complete. I now have that item on my list, and it will then allocate those expenses accordingly. So if you've got a lot of trucks, that particular piece of the puzzle will help you tremendously. If you have any questions in regard to the equipment entry screen, feel free to contact us at Grandy & Associates.